Hello, and welcome to this edition of People in Transition. I'm your host, Bob Gerst. I've been hiring and mentoring executives, frontline employees, and job seekers for nearly 40 years through a host of transitions, some difficult, but most very good. This experience has given me a bird's eye view on a variety of trends, economies, industry disruptors, and transitions, big and small. It also brought me into contact with the thought leaders and decision makers you need to meet. Imagine knowing exactly what to do next and how to know it's time to make your big job change. We all know transitions can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. And it's even fun when you have actionable strategies and proven tactics to achieve the future you want. We'll share with you the tools and skills that can take your dreams to your next great job. So if change is on your horizon, you won't want to miss this discussion. Also, please subscribe to this podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. Welcome to this episode of People in Transition. Today, we're joined by Victoria Michaels, an executive career coach passionate about guiding senior professionals and executives through career transitions. Victoria has worked with leaders across industries like engineering, healthcare, marketing, and operations, offering a highly personalized one-on-one coaching experience. Since 2020, her team has coached many professionals, delivering impressive results, such as they've coached and supported over 280 professionals. You have to be doing something right to get those numbers. They've helped clients land roles in 3 to 4 weeks with an average search of 2 to 4 months. And they've matched clients with dream jobs at their ideal companies. Victoria specializes in personal branding and guiding professionals to effectively connect with hiring managers, increasing visibility, and standing out as top candidates. As part of the Dreampath team, she's committed to helping professionals achieve meaningful career growth. We're so excited to hear more about her unique approach and success stories. Good morning, Victoria.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Victoria, my listeners enjoy hearing the answer to one of my signature questions, which is, when you were a child, what was it that you wanted to be when you grew up?
So funny. So I actually have two things. So one was absolutely a writer. I'm obsessed with writing. I love content creation. So that has followed me throughout my life. The second one's a little bit different. I wanted to be a marine biologist and study dolphins. Even though I'm not doing that now, I get to kayak at the beautiful coast of South Carolina and get to enjoy seeing dolphins and lots of different nature tours. So I'm very lucky, even if I'm not studying dolphins at the moment. Maybe one day.
Victoria, what were the transition moments that you've experienced from seeing yourself as that writer/marine biologist to where you're at today?
Wow. Yeah, I know a lot of people say this and it's so crazy, but it has absolutely been a journey. I will say that I've used a lot of my writing experience and my early 20s when I had my own marketing business. And really that was just something that truly was out of the blue. It was something I started that I wanted to make some extra money. In my 20s, I didn't want to work like the typical job that a 20-year-old would. And I said, I'm going to start my own business. And I had it for over 10 years. And that was such a transition, especially for a young kid to be at the forefront of owning and operating their own business. It was insane. And when I think back to it, I don't even know how I even did it, but I'm so glad and so grateful I had that opportunity. The funny thing about this is that I came into the world of career coaching from my own struggles of navigating the market. So when I sold my business in my early 30s and got into the job market for the first time, no one really wanted to talk to me. I didn't have a degree. I spent my 20s owning a business and they were like, what value do you have to bring? It's hard to articulate your experience as being an entrepreneur in the corporate world. It's definitely possible, but it was hard for me. It was definitely hard. And through my struggles of navigating the market and understanding how to sell and market myself to hiring managers and companies, that's how I actually was able to crack the code. And then a little bit later on, I was invited to become a career coach, and I'm so grateful to use my experiences to be able to help other professionals today. It's such a joy to do what I do.
You've described that you went through your own challenges when you were in job transition. I'm curious, what were the activities? What type of activities did you follow daily, weekly to ensure that you secured a new role as quickly as you possibly could?
For sure. So a lot of time during my job search, I was working more of an entry-level, full-time job, not loving what I was doing at all. And so one of the things was time. I didn't have a lot of time. I was working 40 plus hours a week and commuting. So I really had to treat my job search like another job in itself. And I had to make sure that I had dedicated time to working on these activities that I knew would help me find my next opportunity. So I made sure that I devoted at least 2 hours a day to applying to jobs, reaching out to hiring managers. And specifically, my plan was that I created is that every day I would apply to 10 new jobs that fit my target role. So I wasn't looking for multiple roles. I had one or two very specific to my background. And so I would go on job boards every morning before I started work, and I would apply to those jobs. And then after that, the next part started, I would connect with 10 people per role. So that would be a hiring manager, senior leader, recruiters, even up to CEOs. You have to get really, really comfortable with being uncomfortable when you're job searching. And then in addition to that, I would make sure that I found 10 new people that I could reach out to that I would consider a peer. So someone that would be very lateral to the role that I had. And what was great about that is I could have a coffee chat with them, learn more about their company, their role, and see potentially if they would be willing to give me an internal referral. Those were the big things that I did. And the other thing that was a little bit different at the time is I started really diving into LinkedIn. I learned how to identify what my unique value proposition was, what set me apart from other competitors in the field that were vying for the same job as me. And then I started to create viral content because I knew if I could create viral content on LinkedIn, I could get more eyes on me. And the more eyes on me meant more opportunities. So actually able to get some offers from just posting on LinkedIn. Those things really for me helped move the needle. And I really saw job search as a job in itself. Like I had to show up, I had to do the work. I couldn't just slip away from one day and just not give it my all. So those were the specific activities that I did. And there's so much to dive into regarding those, but high level, that's what I did.
And Victoria, what did a positive mindset have to do with your job search, and how did you make certain that you kept that mindset going?
Honestly, throughout my entire life, I've had to develop a growth mindset and a lot of tenacity. And we know life is not always grand and not always easy. There's ebbs and flows. So mindset really meant everything to me in my job search. I've honestly seen many professionals stay stuck longer due to their thoughts thinking that, hey, no one wants to hire me. No one wants me. The market's crowded. I'm not going to get an opportunity. But then I see those that have that positive mindset. And you can even see it if you follow professionals on LinkedIn, like watch their job searches and their journeys. You'll see that those that are positive and constantly posting with great thoughts, hey, I had an interview, or, oh man, this one didn't work out, but I'm going to still go. You'll see that those people land roles way quicker than the ones that are complaining and saying, you know, all the things are going on. But for me, I had to really come to terms with what the goal was that I wanted. And I had to really mind my thoughts and not so much worry about the outcome, because I think a lot of professionals, I think, oh, this is the job and this is the interview and I have to get this interview and I have to go to the next round. I have to get the offer. I knew that I had to because I got to a point financially where I absolutely needed a job. But what I had to say was, I can't bank everything on this. All I can do is control the controllables, which were those activities that I spoke about. And then the next part was, I had to just think, okay, get through this piece, do your best here. And if this doesn't end up with an outcome, guess what? You're going to do a next one. You're going to apply to the next job. You're going to get the next interview. I did write down that date when I would land a job. Multiple times in job search, I wrote down the date. And I will tell you, there's a specific time that I bought a new notepad after an interview. I wrote down the date, believe it was in fall, and kid you not, that date came and I had an offer. So I'm telling you, watching your mind literally is everything, not only in your job search, your professional life, and even your personal life as well.
Victoria, is it ever okay to lie on your resume? Or at least maybe not lie, maybe it's to stretch the truth?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. Honestly, yeah, you should never lie in life. Like, definitely not. I think that there's a difference between clarifying in your resume versus actually fibbing and not being accurate. So for instance, if there's a professional and their role involved a lot of marketing, but it wasn't a specific marketing role. Let's say they got hired on and maybe they were support staff, maybe they were an executive assistant, but they ended up taking on a lot of marketing. Let's say the marketing person left and their role started to evolve. So where they were for years involved in heavy marketing, but their title never specifically changed. We would never be like, hey, like you're going to change your job title to say marketing professional, but we maybe would coach them on saying, hey, in parentheses, put marketing, or in your bullet points, let's focus more specifically on marketing versus the executive assistant. I definitely think that we have to be careful. I know that there's a lot of competition and I know that there's so much eagerness to get a job, but I definitely wouldn't recommend being inaccurate with your resume. Let your resume do the work of explaining your professional experience that relates to the role that you're going for. Have those customized messages sent out to hiring managers. And then when you get into the interview, sell yourself there. That's what's going to matter. We don't need to be making up things in this market. And honestly, if you do that, that's going to follow you throughout your career. Let's just keep it real. Let's be accurate. And golden rule here is how we have to live life by.
I just read recently kind of an interesting line, and I'd be curious your reaction to it. The line said, resumes aren't just a record of everything you've done. They are a marketing document for you, crafted to position you as the perfect solution to the company's problem. What does that mean for you?
Absolutely. Your resume is your marketing tool. And one thing that I see a lot more that sometimes professionals can get wrong is they think that they need to list everything that they've done throughout their career. And yes, it's important to be accurate and factual and include all of your skills and experiences, but there's a point that you got to cut it. So that's number one. We've got to make sure that you're not having 10 pages worth of experience. I've actually looked at a 10-page resume, and there's a difference between looking at a 2 versus 10 page. So you want to make sure that whatever role that you're targeting, it's very, very specific to that role. And then again, it is saying, okay, there's a company out there right now that has a specific need. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to craft your resume to speak to that need. So you're going to look and make sure, hey, what are the 5 to 7 most important things they're looking for? Who is this company? What metrics are they including in this job description? And how can I speak to that in my resume? So it is absolutely a marketing tool. We have moved from the ages of, hey, I'm just going to slop together a resume. We have to be so strategic right now. We've got AI. We've got so much going on. So absolutely, it is a marketing tool. And you've got to take advantage of selling and marketing yourself in this market if you want to get offers.
Victoria, what's your feeling about if I should apply for a job or a role that I sort of maybe can do? I don't have all the characteristics, but I have a number of them. Should I go on and apply?
That's such a good question. Okay. The market's always going to change. In 2 years from now, I think it's going to look different. It's always just like life. It's always evolving. So one of the most important things that I think is you really, really have to understand, number one, what role you're actually targeting. So start there. So understand, is this role that I'm targeting, it's not, can I do it? Have I done it? Because currently, in 2024, where we are right now, more companies are looking for those that have that specific experience that they're looking for. And I see it time and time again. It's not that the person can't do it. It's just that they haven't done it in their resume, and it's a little bit different. So it's really, really important to understand what role is good for you, where's those skills and experience, and be able to find that target role. And then as you start looking at those job descriptions, you're going to see that they're going to fit you like a glove. Now, let's say I'm someone that I want to apply for an operations role, but I really don't have all the experience. If you can look at about 80% of the experience of the skills, requirements, etc., if you can look there, that would be kind of where I measure things to say, hey, move forward. Now, what I will say, I will absolutely say this, and it's case by case, but if you truly feel that there's a job and that is meant for you and you want to do it, go out there and make a case. Now, okay, you can apply and that's great, but go out and make your case to the hiring manager. And this is where we're moving beyond, hey, I'm just going to apply and then maybe I'll get selected. Send out a Loom video pitching yourself. Send out a pitch deck that goes over all of your skills, experiences. That's kind of more like a portfolio. Think a lot more strategically and make a case for yourself versus just saying, oh, I'm kind of qualified, maybe yes or no, and I'll apply and see. It doesn't work like that. You've got to go out there and you've got to push. It's just like any goal that you want, you got to go out there. So there's this strategic way of doing things and then the hustle way. And I'll let your listeners decide which way they want to go with that.
Victoria, a friend of mine says oftentimes to his clients that interview questions often aren't about the answer, but rather how you handle the question, what you do with it. What does that line mean to you?
That's a very interesting question about what you do with it. So what I've seen from interviewing before is that I think that hiring managers and those that are interviewing at companies, I think that they're wanting to classify you and look at you as the candidate that they would want to work with. So they've already established at the front end through the process, especially with speaking to the recruiter, that you've got the technical skills. And of course, like in the interview, they'll ask you like more technical questions. But the big thing is they want to see if you've got the soft skills to where they actually want to work with you on a day-to-day. So when you're answering, they're not looking for the most great, elaborate answer in the world that shows that you've got every technical skill and every know-how. They're looking for that person that they feel is interested, wants the role, and is hungry for it. And a lot of this comes in your soft skills. And one of the things that I found in my interviews is what actually got me the role was for many roles I had no business interviewing for, but what they saw is that I was very curious about their company. So I started to act as if I was onboarding, and I didn't even know I was doing this at the time, but it's just curiosity. Like, tell me about your clients. Tell me about your initial 90 days. What did those look like? What's your biggest pain point right now? What are you guys doing to solve that? Do you have any onboarding processes that you want to share with me? How's that been looking? Are you a startup? Do you have resources prepared? Talk to me about the specific niche of your clientele. What makes them different from others here? It's like curiosity, and there's value there. When you're interviewing and you say, I want to know more about this company because I'm super interested. I love this role and I'm interested in you guys. That's such a whole different scenario than just going around and answering questions. So I truly believe that you've got to move beyond this very transactional approach to interviews and really get into having conversations that will move the needle. So I definitely agree that it's more about how you answer it versus exactly every single thing that you say. Don't over rehearse in the interview process. It'll bite you.
Victoria, is it that curiosity that you think you displayed that helped you make an impact when you were interviewing? And is there anything else other than that curiosity that can have that positive impact?
Yes, for sure. So definitely curiosity is one thing. And the other thing that I shared who I was at Soul Level, and I'm not talking about, whatever. It's just more of me talking to them, and they asked, what are your weaknesses? What are your goals? I had someone ask, did you play sports as a kid? You seem so motivated. And I gave them honest answers. I wanted them to know who Victoria was. I am not only an employee potentially at your company, but I'm a human, and I'm a human that works really hard on myself. And I'm someone that wants to take that grit and determination and add value to your company. So there's almost a heartfelt approach and a soul level of when you're going in these interviews and saying, hey, I'm a human being and I've got a lot of value and I want to connect with you and I want to see if I would be that best fit. And I think this is a lot of things that we just get so hung up on, like how to prep for the perfect interview. Don't say, don't blink too much on camera. Don't get emotional. Obviously, we're not sitting here crying a river, but you got to be human. You've got to be human in your approach, and humans hire humans. And I love that saying.
I heard the other day that the offer will go to a safe candidate who does not represent many, if any, risks to the hiring manager. What does that mean to you?
It really depends on the company. I've seen some companies hire candidates, as in my experience, that weren't exactly the best fit, but they showed up as the best candidate of choice. Now, of course, there are going to be some companies that they do want that safe candidate. Maybe they're really worried. Maybe they've been burnt before by employees and they don't want a lot of job hopping, or maybe they're sending out projects and they really want to make sure that this person takes things seriously because maybe past employees didn't do that as well. It really depends on the company. And yes, there will be companies that will hire the safe candidate. We see it all the time, but there's also companies that they want a fresh new candidate. They want a new approach and they want someone that they want to work with every day. So I will definitely say it depends on the company. I've seen it go so many different ways. I've seen the most qualified candidates be told, well, you work globally and we really want someone that works with small teams. So you're just not a fit, when absolutely that person would have been an amazing fit. Or yeah, even though you've done project management, we think we want someone with just a little bit more experience doing X, Y, and Z. So this market is interesting and it can go so many different ways, but I will say don't get so hung up on that. You're going to know as you're interviewing with companies if it's going to be a good fit, and you're going to start to identify if you're going to be that bet for them and they're going to be someone that wants to bet on you and wants to take the chance on you. So there's even a little bit on a tangent you can go thinking about, could there be determinants of red flags if someone just wants the safe candidate? It's definitely a conversation to have for sure.
Victoria, you mentioned job hopping. How should a candidate explain their own job hopping that they may have experienced in the past?
With job hopping, one of the things, I honestly get asked this a lot. I'm worried about job hopping. And there's so many reasons why a candidate leaves a role, whether it's maybe a new mom that just had a baby, or they may be taking care of a family member, or they got laid off, or maybe there was friction with their boss, or maybe it was a toxic culture. Maybe there was not opportunities for promotions or higher pay. So I think that it's really important that we take this in account. And with COVID, things have changed because we've had so many layoffs. And so when professionals and recruiters and hiring managers are looking at resumes, they're seeing a different story than what they would have seen 10 years ago. They're seeing that a lot of professionals haven't had the opportunity to stay at roles because they have been laid off. And this is something that I tell professionals, yes, show your experiences, be real about it, be accurate with your duration that you've had at the role. But it's actually once you get to the interview that's when you're going to talk about, if it does come up, because sometimes it doesn't. But if it does come up, that's when you talk about very quick synopsis of maybe the reason for leaving the role, or the reason that you've maybe hopped around a little bit, not even using that terminology. You've got to own your approach to the interview, but just quickly stating why you've left a company, why you've left a role, kind of move on from that. Because if you focus so much on that, that becomes your story and it can move the interview at a little bit different. But I think that professionals these days need to give themselves a break. And I think that more hiring managers and recruiters are seeing that it's not like it used to be. And there's a lot of real reasons for that. And it's okay. It's okay. Lead with your experience and what you're going to bring to that company. And that's what matters at the end of the day.
Victoria, when you went through your own transition and you were in that interviewing stage, again, that mindset is really important. How did you stay positive throughout that process? Because it can be a real roller coaster. You're excited about an opportunity, and then you find out that you got rejected, and then you have another opportunity, and so forth. How do you stay positive through that?
I'll be honest, it's not easy. I'll 100% will be honest and say that there were not times where I felt like I was taking steps forward and taking steps back. And it could be difficult. But for me, I think just life has somehow found me and decided, hey, I'm going to pick this girl and we're going to give her a little bit of some things to deal with and she's got to figure it out. I think that a lot of professionals have had things happen, and we build a lot of resilience from that, and we build a lot of our character and our tenacity. So we kind of have to develop this backbone when things don't go our way, that we've got to bounce back. And so that was something I had to develop. And as I went through job searching, it was something I had to really hone in on. So what I knew was my goal was I absolutely have to get a job. I have to pay my bills. I have to get a job, but I'm not only just going to get a job, I'm going to get something that I love, that I want to do, that's going to fill me up. So that was number one. And as I've kind of said before, it was really thinking about not getting so tied into the outcome of this specific job, and really look at that there were a lot of opportunities out there, and it was up to me to go out there and find them so I could control my controllables. So the activities that I did, I knew that if I did those every day, those would equal results. So equal getting visibility, having people contact me back, when I had the follow-up, getting the opportunity to go forward and interview. So those are things that I knew that I could control. So it was almost like there's unpredictability in life, like things are just going a little bit crazy. But what I knew is if I did this, then it's going to equal something in the end. So I just got to keep doing this. That was a big thing. And again, it's not worrying so much about the outcome, knowing that I will absolutely land a job. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to follow my controllables. I won't know the outcome, but I just got to keep on going on, and don't get so hung up on every single opportunity, because you don't know, like there could be an opportunity that you come across and you think it was the best thing in the world. 3 months later, they have layoffs, and you could be thinking, thank God I didn't get that opportunity. So there's a lot of tenacity that you've got to build up. But I definitely think that if you can mind your mindset in this process, in any process in life, you're going to start winning at life, and it's going to change the game for you.
Victoria, do you ever counsel your clients that they should settle for something less than what they're shooting for?
I will be 100% honest with you. In the market, especially if someone's gone through a layoff or they're having trouble getting traction and there's a financial need, we do not shy away from telling clients, hey, take a contract role, take a gap job, get something that's paying the bills, and continue searching. And that's okay, because sometimes if you do have that financial need, it wouldn't always make sense if you're just waiting around for the perfect opportunity. The perfect opportunity will come, but if there's something right there that you can grab onto that will give you a little bit of breathing room, we do recommend professionals, hey, take that. The other thing too is we talked about gaps. This is a way, especially if you're not working a role currently, you can have something in your resume that you could speak to. I actually had a client that she was in a very toxic work environment and she just couldn't take it anymore. She was job searching and she was transitioning. So it was taking her a little bit longer, and she was in a specific niche that would take a little bit longer to transition. But for her, when this opportunity came, she said, I don't know, like, should I take it? And we talked about it and she took it. So then her nervous system calmed down. She got to work. She realized that not all bosses are created equal, that there are supportive, kind, caring bosses out there, and that things are different. And so that gave her a whole new perspective. And then a little bit later, she was able to find that perfect full-time role. So that alleviated a lot of stress and pressure. So I definitely do tell professionals, never settle, never ever settle in life for anything. But there are times when you have to say, hey, I'm going to take this right now, and then in the future that will come. It's like getting a new car, the new Tesla's out there. Maybe that's your dream car. Well, right now I got to get a Honda. That's how I like to look at things, and that's okay.
Victoria, any books or other resources that you would recommend to our listeners who might be going through transition that would help them?
Yeah, so you can tell from my mindset that I am very, very big into that because it changes the game. Everything that you do, if you can control your mind, you can win and you can control a lot of your outcomes. I truly, truly believe in that. And so many instances in my life that I'm so grateful that I stayed the course and didn't listen to myself when I said quit, stop. I just kept going. I've seen a lot of growth, and I know that many professionals can relate to that. And I do want to say, like, mind your mind. But I have been studying big into Mr. David Goggins. I have been studying, a lot of professional athletes know about him. So he's got 2 books. His first one is Can't Hurt Me, and the second one is Stay Hard. I've never met David Goggins. I'm not even on his Instagram, but I'm telling you, these books will literally change your life. It starts to let you know what's possible. And one of the big lessons I learned was the accountability mirror. So I think at one point in his story, he was, and I may not be phrasing this correctly, so definitely get the book, but he was like 300 pounds overweight, and he was working at Ecolab, and he was just not in the best place of his life. And so how he started to change his life was he went in to look at what he called the accountability mirror, and he started being real with himself. Like, he started saying the ugly things that we don't want to say to ourselves, right? We don't want to say, but he started to have to say, like, hey, this is real. This is happening. This is you. This is what you've done. And from that reality and being real with himself, he started making huge changes. And he's gone through some of the craziest things, running on broken legs. He's done, I think, 300-mile races. He's had a heart issue. He's had so many health complications that he should not have succeeded in life. So these books, I would say, if you're struggling, read them. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be an athlete or be in the military or whatever. It's just something for you to say, what is possible in this struggle that I am in right now, whether I'm unemployed, whether I've been laid off, whether financial burdens are just everywhere. Read these books, because you're gonna start to uncover some things, and you're gonna find a little bit more tenacity to say, keep going. And I want to say to professionals that I absolutely believe in my heart that you will find a job. And I want you to know this, that your opportunity is absolutely coming, and I want you to claim that.
Victoria, we have gone through so much great information here today. If our listeners only remember 3 things from our discussion, what are the 3 things that you want them to take away?
So one is, don't rely on your resume to do the work. That is not the thing that we're doing. I want you to really think about your job search strategically. I want you to go through and open doors that are closed. So get in front of hiring managers, recruiters, senior leaders, peers, and whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's getting their email and sending them an email, get in front of the right people. Do things differently. If you want to stop by offices, I've had a recruiter say, hey, candidates don't stop by offices, stop by an office, send out a Loom video. Do the things that the others are not doing. That will make a difference. The second thing is that I think we need to be aware of all of the things out there in the world that we're hearing of regarding tactics, technique, etc. And those are great. And I want professionals to be open and listening to what's out there. But at the end of the day, job search, I'm not trying to say it's simple, but it can really, really be broken down to this. What is this company wanting? What exactly are they looking for in their candidate? What does the job description say? They are very clear into that, and they're, you can get into a tangent on them. Well, they're not. But most of the time, from what I've seen, they're very specific about what they want. And what you have to do is you have to showcase yourself as that candidate of choice. You've got to be able to speak to your skills and experiences that match that job description. So that is job search in itself. And then once you get into that interview, you've got to be able to sell yourself. It is marketing 101. So I want professionals to know that there's a lot of noise out there. Get it down to the basics. And the third piece is, and we talk so much about this, but just keep in charge of your mind. Keep in charge of your mind in this process. Know, as I said before, your opportunity is coming, that you are not going to be jobless. You will find that perfect opportunity for you. And as we were talking about, don't settle. Take the gap job if you need it, but never, ever, ever settle on your dreams and your vision of really going further towards your goals. Like, don't settle on that, because we only get one life. This is not a dress rehearsal. It's their only one life. So I want to make sure that you're really living it to the full advantage.
Victoria, I know that when you were looking for your great opportunity, that you kept in charge of your mind. And if there's something that I took away from our discussion today, was that concept. I want to thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your experiences and to help our people to find their next great opportunity easier and faster. Thank you, Victoria.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I want to thank you for this podcast. It has so much value, and I know that it's helping so many professionals. And thank you for the hard work that you've done throughout your career to support professionals in their job search and helping them find new roles. So super grateful for what you're doing, and I'm honored to be here today.
Thank you for listening. We're working in unprecedented times. The purpose of these episodes is to give you the support and critical tools to adjust with the changing marketplace. I'll continue to introduce you to guests who have successfully survived their own obstacle course and can share useful information. If today's message was helpful to you, please share it on your social media. Your review and rating helps get this to more people. Also, if you have questions or podcast ideas for future conversations, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Change is constant. The more prepared you are for it, the better and easier the change will occur. Thank you again. This is your host, Bob Gerst. See you at our next episode.